All right, welcome back. And in my previous lesson, we touched on why most studios plateau. You can go back and watch that now, just on the platform that you're currently on. It should be the lesson prior to this lesson. But in today's lesson, what we're going to do is we're going to dive into the opposite of what we spoke about in the last lesson, and that is how studios grow. So how do you get past that initial phase where your friends and family, locals, people who opportunistically come across you, uh, buy into your system, to your studio? How do you get past that and actually convince people who have no idea who you are to come and work with you? There are a few things that go into that, and there are a few things that go into it to ensure that they stay long enough for you to profit, to grow, and reach more people. So understand that inherently, money is not evil. Money is what is the it's a score on the scoreboard essentially, and it'll directly show you how much impact that you have. So if you are ethical and genuine in your approach to business, you will succeed, and people will back you for succeeding. And that's what I want for you. I see that you are watching this because you are interested in growing your personal acumen, but also having an impact. Okay, so let's dive straight in. The first thing that you're going to need to do is remove all resistance and strengthen systems. So this is a little bit like looking at a movement like the squat. If we started to add bands to your squat and plates on the barbell on your back, but you started to squat and your form was terrible, to get you to move better, what we would need to do is we would need to remove the bands, we need to remove the barbells, and just look at you squatting your own body weight. And then what we would need to do is we need to look at the muscles that are involved in the movement and strengthen those muscles. And in this case, those muscles are your systems. So if you feel like you have muscles in your business that aren't quite keeping up with the load, it's likely that you are working with underdeveloped systems. And some of these systems that I'm about to dive into with you will help to strengthen those muscles so that you can get a leg up and break through the plateau that you're currently in. So, without further ado, here are those three big studio levers. The first one is digital real estate. We've hit a point in the digital economy where no longer can you just put up a post and people will trust you. You can't put up an ad and people will buy immediately. It's because of the sheer amount of competition out there now. It's become easier and easier to market yourself online. So more and more people are doing it. And in this case, I'll take you back to a story. It would have been no more than 8 months ago now. We came back from a holiday and it was New Year. And as I looked around our local marketplace, I saw gyms advertising exactly what we were advertising. The same thing from businesses that weren't necessarily to our caliber. And I thought to myself, if people's first view of us was the same as the person down the road or the business down the road, they're going to put us in the same bucket. And it's really a case of first impressions last when it comes to how you present yourself online. So, what your digital real estate relates to is essentially your footprint. How much stuff do you have online? Are you seen as an authority? And is there enough content out there to consume to give the lead a long enough runway to build trust with you? So if you take a look at this slide here, it's quite far away. I hope this helps uh, zoom in as I'm recording. But what we've got here is we've got a customer journey, and it's a little bit like a spider web. We've got local SEO, local visibility, so signs, and that's physical infrastructure. We've got blog here, we've got ads, we've got personal connections, seminars, stories group, posts on Facebook, etc. All of this stuff is short form content. It's even a sign is short form content. It needs to be short enough for you to spark interest, but not long enough to try and convince. And this is where signage that has heaps and heaps of text and heaps of different offerings on it really does confuse. And the same principle applies for putting a post up on Facebook. If it's 1,000 words, people with an attention span of 3 or 4 seconds are probably going to just scroll past that. So this short form stuff, it points to, and as we talked about in the last lesson, go back to that last lesson, this points to the longer form stuff and eventually the deliverable content. Okay, so in this diagram, all of these little short form ads, if you want to call them that, or posts or pieces of content, does go to a 30-day no call to action nurture email series. Now, the purpose for this series is we take them off one platform and drive their attention towards us for 30 days. That gives us 30 days to build a relationship, to build trust, and eventually put their hand up as someone who might want to buy. Right? Without all this digital real estate, you are fighting against, when you're trying to push it uphill, for lack of a better analogy. If you start advertising on Facebook and you don't have a well-constructed website, landing page, blog, you're not going to look trustworthy. You're going to look like a scam. If you're posting on Facebook, or you're doing the old DM trick where you're posting and you're asking people to jump into your DMs, if you don't have a web presence, the reality is you're going to look and feel like a scammer. You'll always feel like you're trying to extract money from someone else rather than actually solving problems. And this is what brings us to the next stage. So all of this stuff here, all that's meant to do is get them to put their hand up to say, you know what, let's go on a date. Let's see what you can do for me. And it's in this situation where you can really galvanize the one thing that anyone cares about, and that is essentially, how can you help me? Can you help me? And how we do this is we offer a strength assessment, because good marketing is entering a conversation that somebody already has in their mind. And if you think about the average person walking around, they're not thinking every single day, every single hour of the day, they're not thinking, oh, I really need to join that body transformation challenge, or you know what, I really need to join that gym. What they're thinking is, oh my God, my back's sore, my knees, they don't feel like they used to. I can't pop up these stairs like I once did. You know what, I can't carry all the groceries at once. All of a sudden I can't carry my 2-year-old over my head because my 2-year-old weighs too much. These are the things that they're thinking about. And when you enter the conversation in their mind as, well, how strong am I? And do I have the strength to last a lifetime? That then sets the stage for them to come in to find something out about themselves, which we all know humans love. Humans love to find things out about themselves, to learn about themselves, and that's what the perfect date should do. It doesn't have to be a strength assessment, but in this example, that's what we use. And if you take a look at this card and how it's set up, on the back there's actually a facts. There's a facts section. I'm happy to give this to anyone that's interested. So if you watching this on the platform and there's an opportunity to comment below, just comment below whatever you want to comment. It doesn't have to be a keyword. I'll send out the Canva document that you can edit for yourself and create your own strength assessment card. But if you just zoom in here, what we've got down here is a timeline, and this ties into the next section of the lesson. But as you can see here, is we've got 3 levels to work through. So the first 6 months, and most people are going from not having the strength to live to having the strength to live. And then the next 6 months after that, they're working towards building the strength to live long and really enjoy independence as they age. And then finally, that second 12 months, they're working towards performing better than 99% of the people around them. And the cool thing about this is it already puts in their mind that it's not going to be 6 weeks, it's not going to be 12 weeks. Heck, it's not even going to be 6 months, but it's going to take you at least 12 months. And that's where seeing a future with you really starts to compound your business, because it's not about the initial offer or the initial intake. It's about having a client that lasts a long time with you, A, to spend enough money with you for you to profit and put those profits back into the business to grow, but B, long enough with you to get a remarkable result and review you 5 stars. And that's the ultimate compliment that someone can pay you, is give you a 5-star review because you've changed their life. And you and I both know 12 months minimum to change someone's life. It's not really a big ask in this whole scheme of things. And this is where discounting really can grind the gears to a grinding halt in your business. Because if you start discounting 4-week programs or 8-week programs, or if you start offering those short programs to begin with, even, you will discount the things that they could achieve with you over a long enough term. And if you can spend 12 months with a client, put 30 years onto the rest of life, imagine the ROI on quality of life for them. But I'm speaking to the converted here. So moving forward, here's a bonus section for you, because maybe some of you are thinking about hanging up the boots, getting off the floor, growing your business a little bit more, maybe even mentoring people who are younger in the industry. And if you are at that stage, getting to a point, even if you're not at that stage, you might be at that stage in 5 or 10 years. And if you want to be there in 5 or 10 years, you've got to start thinking about it now. I remember reading a book on roles about 6 or 7 years ago. I didn't understand it at the time, and now I think about it, that was the first seed planted in my mind. So hopefully this is the first seed planted into your mind in regards to having a business that actually becomes an asset, not a glorified job or something that kind of shrinks when you move away from it. And here's a really simple structure. It's directly reflective of how we have our role set up in our business. And we're not a big business, but we have 6 coaches. We've got my wife as well, who's head coach. And then we've also got myself, who I direct things. Okay, I don't go and jump into the gym when the women are there. I don't work with the trainers all that often either. I really just focus on the numbers and the strategy. And with that viewpoint, I can listen to feedback from my wife, who is our head coach, who says, look, our trainers are really struggling in delivering this, or our clients are really not understanding this, or she might have a sales consultation or a strength assessment, and something in that strength assessment just didn't flow exactly right. And I can go, you know what, let's do this, and this, and this is what's going to improve the flow and really push the business forward. So if you are that person in your business who is good at directing and strategy, then you need to try and get yourself as much into that role as possible. And it's hard to do in the beginning, because you want things done a certain way. You can do things at a higher quality and maybe a higher that you make. But over time, if you can really work at it, you can get yourself there. And if you're not even interested in being that person, you need to look for that person. You need to find someone who is willing to become a director in your business, to see you as the talent and really put you up on a pedestal. And that's exactly what I've done for Megan. Not very recently, but for a long time, we knew she was the talent. She was the pretty face, and I was the guy behind the scenes. And since separating our roles into these clear distinctions, things have really popped off for us. So that's the director, that's the head coach. Head coach usually will take care of team meetings, making sure the team is skilled, putting out fires in terms of deliverability and sales. So really being that first person that they see when they first come into the business. Okay, and then coaches have a few different hats to wear. Delivery, so teaching the actual classes. Marketing, believe it or not. So they should be the ones getting the transformation photos and posting them, or giving them to the director to put them on the website. They should be the person capturing stories, tagging people in stories. They can even take sales. And if you think of sales as not just the first appointment, but every single session, you would know that people will fall off quite quickly. They'll say one thing in their initial strength assessment, and then 4 weeks down the track, when they're tired, sore, and lacking in energy, and are a bit busy, they'll fall back into old habits. So a coach's job is to really just sell the person who turns up to the session to come to the next session, and that's a sales transaction in itself. It's like, hey, great workout. When are you coming in next? Something as simple as that is all you need to spark the habit to create a good strength training habit. So this lesson's been a little bit longer because we've dived into a bit more of the nuts and bolts of things. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope that was useful. Remember that you can reach out in the comment section, comment strength assessment. I'll send you those strength assessment cards that you can use for your business. And in the next lesson, we're going to dive into building your digital brand. So this real estate that we spoke about earlier, I'll talk about the different sections of all of this and how you can go about building this for yourself. And if you turn up to the lesson and watch the next lesson, I may even give away some templates for creating your own 30-day email series. So once again, I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to give back and pay this forward, and you know a studio owner who's struggling with growing and they could do with learning the same thing, please pass this on. Likes, subscribes, comments, all of that usually helps with the algorithm and gets me found and helps my goal. My goal is to just really get really good operators who feel like they're stuck in the trenches out of those trenches and growing teams of even better operators, because that's probably one of the most fulfilling things, is that if you've been in this industry for long enough, you're at a point now where you can pass on some knowledge. But to be able to effectively pass on that knowledge, you need to have the business that allows for that. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.